Sobrang di ko pa mapaniwala. Maraming salamat sa suporta. At sana patuloy yung suporta niyo sa
Manila was stopped by the gift, tears, and secrets. The unsung tale that would forever alter tennis in the Philippines. Welcome back to Champions Tennisics, your go-to source for tales that rock the tennis world. I need you to stop scrolling right now because what happened in the shadows of the Rizal Memorial Tennis Center just hours before Alex's biggest match of his career is not just breaking news. Even if you thought you understood what emotion looked like on a tennis court and what sportsmanship meant in the modern era. It is a turning point in the history of our sport that will affect future generations. We are streaming live from the center of Manila, where the intense expectation of a whole country is only surpassed by the tropical heat. From Luzon to Mindanao, the Philippine flag is waving with pride as the people yell and flashbulbs explode. However, in a locker room, something subdued and breathtakingly lovely took place behind the spectacle, beyond the TV cameras and the social media fever. A handwritten note, an unexpected delivery, and a covert gesture all stopped the golden girl from the Philippines in her tracks and brought her to tears just before she was supposed to take the stage of her young life. We're talking about more than just topspin and drop shots today. We are delving deeply into the unadulterated humanity that lies beneath the elite sports industry's professional facade. We are examining what it means when an opponent turns into an ally, when rivalry turns into unity, and when a small act of compassion has the potential to eclipse the actual match. This is the tale of life's gift. But that's only the beginning, so hold on tight. We're going farther than we've ever gone. We are revealing the bold master plan to make the Philippines the next tennis superpower in the world. We are disclosing the billions of pesos being invested in championships, coaching, and courts. We are looking at how a single 20-year-old lady has sparked a whole revolution in sports. Before we wrap up, we will take a solemn detour to Melbourne, where the tennis community said a heartfelt goodbye to one of the greatest warriors in the history of the sport. Champions Tennis has never created an episode as thorough and emotionally powerful as this one. You are going to see history being written in real time. The action takes place in Manila, a city that has been waiting for this opportunity for decades. It's not simply humid. Millions of people have watched their local hero fight alone on foreign soil for years, and it is full of expectations and ambitions. The preparations for the Philippine Women's Open, the country's first WTA 125 event, have been nothing short of amazing. The Rizal Memorial Sports Complex has completely changed. The tropical light shines on freshly painted surfaces. There are now additional seating areas. Professional standards have been restored to the courts. Each and every aspect has been examined, refined, and perfected. One young woman, whose shoulders are carrying the weight of an entire archipelago, stands in the very core of this tornado. Go, Alexandra. Eala has already spent a lifetime playing professional tennis at the age of just 20. From Makati to Quezon City, her visage appears on billboards. Every young Filipino girl who has ever picked up a racket whispers her name in hope. She is the trailblazer, the standard bearer, the person who made it from Southeast Asia to the major leagues. However, that glory is accompanied by oppressive, stifling pressure. The kind of strain that may make a tennis court into a jail. I traveled from Melbourne to Manila with bulky luggage. It had been a tough Australian Open. A singles first-round loss to an opponent she ought to have defeated. Together with her partner, she made another first-round exit in doubles. The whispers began right away. Whether or not she was ready for the limelight was a topic of discussion on sports talk shows. Her mental toughness was questioned in online forums. Critics who had never used a racket in their lives typed angrily about her alleged shortcomings. It was an overwhelming noise. However, she was back at home, seated second behind the seasoned Tatiana Maria, getting ready for a difficult draw. And her first opponent, Alina Kariva, a formidable Russian with a disruptive style of play and a previous head-to-head triumph over Eala. This was not the kind of homecoming that is typically associated with fairy tales. This was supposed to be a severe examination under the most intense lighting, a war of attrition. However, the storyline changed in a way that no one could have predicted, not even the players, coaches, or commentators, just hours before the first ball was hit. Elena Kharieva did something that just does not happen in the competitive world of professional tennis, according to a number of people with knowledge of the tournament's organizational structure who talked to us on the condition of anonymity due to the delicate nature of the discovery. Kharieva made a decision that went against every unwritten rule of the tour in a world where psychological warfare is commonplace. Players avoid making eye contact in the locker room, and every encounter is calculated for competitive advantage. She didn't look for media attention. She didn't set up a picture opportunity. She didn't publish it on Instagram for likes and engagement stats, nor did she tweet about it. Rather, she approached a senior tournament official with a handwritten note and a meticulously wrapped item in total seclusion and silence. Acknowledging the importance of the gesture, the official consented to do it himself. The message, which we can now only share with you, was written in straightforward yet insightful English. Please consider this a gift of life for allowing me to play the top player from the Philippines in her home country, regardless of who wins tonight. It is a privilege. The moment that tournament official walked into Alexandra Eala's changing room is something I will always remember. The tension leading up to the game was palpable. With her headphones on and her eyes closed, I was locked in, trying desperately to block out the deafening sound of her name ringing from the stadium outside while she visualized points and patterns. Her family, coaches, physiotherapists, and staff all moved around her with practiced efficiency. Everyone concentrated on their own part in getting her ready for combat. The item was set on the bench next to Eala's racket bag by the official. No one noticed for a moment. Eala then opened her eyes. The packaging caught her eye. Her name appeared in a handwriting she didn't recognize. She took off her headphones slowly. Everyone noticed that something strange was going on, and the busy activity around her started to slow down and then cease completely. Grabbed the package. Witnesses in the room reported that when she read the note, time seemed to stop. For what seemed like an eternity, but was actually only 10 or 15 seconds, she stood motionless. Her eyes, which moments before had been hard and focused, began to well up with tears as her hand moved to her mouth. The feeling did not develop gradually. She was suddenly overtaken by a wave. Every protective mechanism the young athlete had built was destroyed by the humanity of the situation in that high-stakes, high-pressure locker room where vulnerability is viewed as weakness and tears are supposed to be saved for win or defeat. Only a few words were mumbled by Eala, according to people in that room, and her voice broke with anguish. Before a match, this is the most exquisite gift anyone has ever given me. I'm at a loss for words. What did that package really contain? Between two rivals, that is still a holy secret. There has been a lot of speculation. Some speculate that it was a handwritten letter detailing Kharieva's personal problems and journey. Others think it served as a symbolic indication of the challenges faced by all women on professional tours. Others believe it may have been something very intimate that only two sportsmen who have devoted their life to this cruel sport could really comprehend. But in the end, the meaning is more significant than the material. The tangible item is not the essence of the gift of life. It has to do with acknowledgement. It is about a warrior identifying another warrior. It is about Kharieva telling Eala, in front of no cameras or viewers, that she recognizes the importance of this moment, that she is aware of the pressure, that she honors the journey, and that even though they will soon be engaged in combat and attempting to ruin each other's championship dreams, they are bound by something greater than any one match. The impending interaction is radically changed by this gesture. There will be an energy that permeates every part of Manila when these two women on the court under the lights in front of thousands of yelling fans. It will be more than just competition. It will be an attempt to outdo rivalry. There will be two people competing at the greatest level with mutual respect that goes beyond the scoreboard because they have a deep, silent understanding of one another. They will fight with all of their might, no doubt about it. There will be genuine intensity. There will be an intense desire to succeed. However, something considerably more potent and uncommon has taken the place of the resentment, psychological gamesmanship, and cold-blooded detachment that frequently define contemporary professional tennis. sincere, deep-seated respect between adversaries. When both players are long retired, decades from now, this is the kind of moment that will define both their careers and personalities. We watch sports for this reason. Tennis is important because of this. Let's now take a closer look at why this gesture had such a severe emotional impact. You must first comprehend Alexandra Eala's terrible situation in order to comprehend that. In the Philippines, she is more than just a tennis player. She is a national treasure, a cultural phenomenon, and an example of what can happen when ability, opportunity, and perseverance come together. Has lived thousands of miles away from home for much of her formative years, training in Mallorca, Spain, at the renowned Rafa Nadal Academy. She was working through grueling practice sessions in the Mediterranean heat while her pals were going about their typical adolescent life in Manila. She was sleeping in cheap hotels, eating whatever she could afford, and participating in minor ITF tournaments throughout Europe while her family enjoyed holidays and birthdays together. She battled through Grand Slam qualifying rounds, frequently as the only Filipino competitor in the whole draw, bringing her country's flag into venues where she was utterly unknown. Every triumph was an isolated celebration. Each setback was absorbed in isolation. Anyone who hasn't experienced it can't comprehend the sacrifices needed to get to this point. She is now participating in a WTA-approved event on Philippine soil for the first time in her professional career. It is impossible to exaggerate the scope of that reality. Eala tried to control expectations with the cautious diplomacy of a politician during her pre-tournament press conference. With cameras aimed at her from every direction, she sat at a table covered in microphones and gave what appeared to be a calm, collected response. I never enter a tournament with the intention of winning it all. The fact that this occurs at home doesn't change my perspective in that regard. Match by match is how I approach it. If I don't get my first one, it's what it is, but I'll do all in my power to do so. You can't always prevail. These are the comments of a media-savvy professional who has received coaching and is aware of the risks associated with overpromising. But let's be crystal clear about the reality that lies underlying that well-crafted assertion. She is fully aware of the stakes. She is aware that her name caused the tickets to sell out in record time. She is aware that this tournament will have the greatest broadcast viewership of any tennis competition in Philippine history. She is aware that hundreds of young girls with brightly colored handmade placards bearing her name will be present in that crowd, hoping to become her someday. That understanding is terrible in its weight. The tournament draw has been brutal. Beyond Alina Kariva's direct threat in the first round, there is danger everywhere in the bracket. Lurking in one section is Donna Vake, a former top 20 player with Grand Slam quarterfinal experience. Another risky role is held by Lulu Sun, a rising star from New Zealand who stunned Wimbledon last year. Tatiana Maria, a Wimbledon semi-finalist whose deft lefty style and lethal slice backhand have troubled players far more seasoned than Eala, is looming at the top as the top seed. It's not an easy path to the championship trophy. I own it. And the ghost of Melbourne looms over all of this. It hurt to be eliminated in the first round of the Australian Open singles competition. The disappointment was exacerbated by the doubles loss. Carrying that failure like a stone in her gut, A took a plane from Australia to the Philippines. Athletes who weren't as good would have failed. In order to stay out of the spotlight, lesser rivals would have staged an injury. However, Alexandra Eala made the decision to attend. After cleaning herself, she got on the plane and entered the flurry of anticipation. Kariva's gift struck a deep chord because of his tenacity and refusal to conceal. When Eala would have felt alone due to pressure, Kariva reassured her that she is appreciated, loved, and seen because of her problems rather than in spite of them. That's what true sportsmanship is all about. It mends scars that cannot be healed by victory alone. The future of Philippine tennis is being planned in government offices and conference rooms, while the drama of the gift of life plays out in the locker rooms and on the courts in Manila. Even while this event is amazing, it is merely the first step in a bold and ambitious plan to make the Philippines a real tennis superpower. Pa Gregorio, the chairman of the Philippine Sports Commission, is the man spearheading this change. He is a forward-thinking administrator who sees the potential of Philippine tennis as well as its current state. Gregorio is not satisfied with the WTA 125 event success. A one-time celebration that vanishes from memory after the last ball is hit is not what he is interested in. He desires steady growth. Infrastructure is what he wants. He wants an environment that generates a generation of Eala instead of just one. And in order to make it happen, he is prepared to risk political capital, government resources, and his own reputation. Gregorio was direct, self-assured, and unreserved in his aspirations when he spoke to media representatives on the eve of the competition. He gave the Women's Tennis Association what amounted to a challenge while staring straight into the cameras. If we pass this test, offer us a 250 event. Given Alex's continued growth and trajectory, I have no doubt that she will soon rank in the top 20 worldwide. They will be forced to pay us a 250 when that occurs. Take a moment to consider that statement. A 125 event is not quite as good as a WTA 250 tournament. Greater ranking points, significantly larger prize money, and most importantly, the capacity to draw top 20 players who might not otherwise attend lower-tier events. It is what distinguishes a reputable stop on the international professional tour from a local attraction. Gregorio is not requesting this improvement as a favor. He is requesting it as a right that will be obtained by effective implementation and proven consumer demand. However, Gregorio's vision goes much beyond Manila. When talking about prospects for expansion, he dropped a real bombshell. We may work together to create and launch a WTA 125 event in a different Philippine city, like Cebu. I've researched how other countries have developed prosperous tennis cultures, and the model is obvious. Take a moment to picture that reality. Players compete in paradise at a WTA Tour event in Cebu, the Queen City of the South, with its immaculate beaches and fervent sports fans. Fans from Mindanao and the Visayas may watch elite tennis without having to go to Manila. There would be a huge economic impact. It would have a transformational effect on culture. We were reminded of the beautiful and cruel cycle of professional sports as he waved goodbye to the Australian supporters, tears flowing down his cheeks. With millions of people riding on her shoulders, Eala in Manila is starting her path as a home hero after being given the gift of life. Stan Wawrinka is said goodbye to the supporters who witnessed him transform from Roger Federer's shadow into his own dazzling light as he closes the book on his Australian Open tale in Melbourne. One tale starts, another concludes. The flame is still burning even when the torch is not directly transferred from one hand to another. What does all of this mean, therefore, for those of us who follow this lovely sport with all of our time, passion, and emotional energy? It indicates that we are in the midst of a golden age, a confluence of beginnings and endings that will shape tennis for the ensuing 10 years. You are seeing the seeds of greatness being sown in real time if you are a fan of Philippine tennis. The infrastructure is being constructed. Investments are being made. Leaders who recognize that several transcendent talents are necessary for long-term success are articulating the vision. This is more than simply a sport, as demonstrated by the drama between Kariva and Eala. It is a theater of human connection, emotion, and common struggle. That private exchanging of gifts in a locker room. The essence of tennis is revealed in that tearful and realizing moment. If you enjoy the international game, you are witnessing firsthand how professional tennis is changing geographically.